Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I really do appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. I think you can argue maybe the most important game of the day. I thought it was the most intriguing game of the day, especially with a little hindsight, knowing that there were no crazy upsets, no Oregon losing to Iowa, etc. BYU at Texas Tech. First college football playoff rankings came out this week. Both teams in the top 10. And I think, to me, a couple things. One, first of all, I thought it was a great stage for the Big 12, okay? The Big 12, listen, I think fair or not, there's this perception we have a Power 4, but it's really a Power 2, and then the Big 12 and the ACC are behind it. Well, I bring it up because to me, ACC is a total mess. I think it's bad leadership at the top, and it trickles down to the football product. I think the Big 12 at the top of the league is very good. I actually think the middle is pretty good as well. I only bring it up to say that, in my opinion, this was just a great platform. Two very good teams. College game day in Lubbock for the first time since 2008. That famous Graham Harrell Michael Crabtree game. Well, I'll tell you what, the days of Mike Leach putting up 50 on people at Texas Tech are over. Rest in peace, Coach Leach. But Texas Tech, the dominant 29-7 win. And I'll say this. I truly believe in my heart of hearts, it is time to put some respect on Texas Tech's name. Everybody wants to say, oh, just BYU stinks. No, BYU doesn't stink. It's okay to acknowledge that good football is played outside the SEC, outside of the Big Ten, and it's time we talk about it. As far as this game is concerned, what stands out to me, by the way, I should mention this. When did start a Torres on Texas Tech page? Because Texas Tech has some of the craziest fans in America. If you are a student that wants to start in the sports world, Twitter, email me, Aaron Torres podcast questions at gmail.com. We got to get a Torres on Texas Tech page going because that fan base is insane. All right, let's dive into this game. And I think the thing that stood out to me, what actually stood out? It was that Texas Tech's defense was so dominant and so good that they actually didn't appear to open things up at all offensively, right? Like, part of people were saying, oh, Texas Tech, that offense doesn't look very good. One, BYU's defense is awesome. The run defense is awesome. BYU is physical. BYU is tough. BYU is this. BYU is that. But part of it is, if you understand football at a basic level, you know that Joey McGuire trusted that defense so inherently that he knew he didn't have to go crazy. They put up 29 points. He didn't need to put up 35, 38, 41, 45, 48, whatever it is to win the game. He knew once they got ahead, they could sit on the football, they could chew clock, they could rely on the defense. And I actually thought the play right before the half was pretty symbolic of how he felt about his team in that game. If you remember, Texas Tech was up 13-0. They're in field goal range, can easily go up 16-0, make it essentially a 2-score game, whatever, 3-score game essentially. Instead, Joey McGuire decides to go for the touchdown instead of taking the 3 points. And I thought it was crazy. But when I heard him in the halftime interview, he basically said, he's like, look, we go up 20-0 here. We feel like, or I guess it would have been 17-0. It would have been 20-0. My bad. It would have been 20-0. And he basically said, like, we feel like we would have been in complete control. And basically he said it without saying it. He's like, if we have a 20-point lead, BYU is not coming back on us. And to me, that's the story of this game. Listen, as soon as the game goes final, everyone's, oh, BYU, how are they ranked in the top 10? Well, how about we just give a little bit of love to Texas Tech? Because when Alabama shuts someone down, Georgia shuts someone down, Ohio State shuts someone down, Oregon shuts someone down, the default isn't immediately, oh, the other team was overrated. It's, oh, maybe that other team has some really good players, and that is the case with Texas Tech. Coming into this game, and it's crazy because we know what the history of Texas Tech is with Cliff Kingsbury and Graham Harrell and Patrick Mahomes and Baker Mayfield and whoever, is that Baker Mayfield did play there, by the way, because I know someone in the chat's going to be like, Baker Mayfield went to Oklahoma. No, he started his career at Texas Tech. Pay attention, people. Anyway, that school that produced Patrick Mahomes and all these guys, it is the defense. It was the defense, and that defense is elite. And that defense would translate to anyone, anywhere in college football. I don't care who they play. Top 10 in scoring, top 5 in total defense, or maybe it's the other way around. Number 1 rush defense in college football. And you can absolutely see that if you did not watch the game in the box score. Okay, just a totally dominant effort. BYU held to 255 yards of total offense, 67 yards rushing on 27 carries. You can see it on the bottom of the screen there. Great job, producer Matt. This was a dominant game and a physical game, and it was unbelievable. And so as I look at Texas Tech big picture, a couple things come to mind. One, please do not tell me about NIL. I do not care, okay? Because even during the game, they were talking about it. College Game Day, they were talking about it. I guess in the ranking show, Reese Davis referenced that they've written money bags to the top 10 or something. It's like, I'm tired of hearing that, man. Because first of all, everybody's got NIL. I hate to tell you, Texas is basically spending the same as Texas Tech. Oregon is basically spending the same as Texas Tech. Ohio State spent record money a year ago to win a national championship. If it doesn't matter at Ohio State, if it doesn't matter at Texas, if it doesn't matter at Oregon, if it doesn't matter wherever, why should we care about it at Texas Tech? The other thing, and I will give credit to Chris Fowler for saying this during the game, NIL money is lovely. You still have to spend it in the right manner on the right people, right? He said something to the effect of there's a lot of talented players in the portal, but it's about fit and culture and this and that. And the guys that they have brought in have very clearly fit into that culture effortlessly, okay? So don't just tell me it's about NIL. Guess what? LSU had a ton of NIL money they spent in the offseason. How'd that work out for them? Texas A&M, many years ago under Jimbo Fisher, plenty of NIL for that 2022 recruiting class. How did that work out for Jimbo Fisher? He's basically panhandling on the side of the street trying to get another job, and nobody wants to hire him. So don't dismiss this team, and don't dismiss them off the field, but don't dismiss them on the field either, because I'll tell you this, I think they could play with just about anybody in college football. Now, listen, you start talking about going on the road and, maybe a bad weather game in Columbus. I guess you want to play in Columbus, but, whatever. Like, listen, I don't know if they played Alabama on a neutral field tomorrow, what the score would be, or Georgia or Ole Miss or whomever. But what I am saying is when you play defense like they do, you can play with just about anybody in college football. And so I do think Texas Tech clearly now has the inside track to that college football playoff berth out of the Big 12. And I'm here to tell you, can they win the national championship? I don't know. But if they make the playoff, can they absolutely win a game or two? Could they go to Ole Miss as the 9 seed and win? Yeah, I think they could. Could they host Notre Dame and beat Notre Dame? Yeah, I think they could. And that's not a knock on Notre Dame. That's not a knock on Ole Miss, but it's time to give credit to Texas Tech. That is a darn good football team right there. Really quickly from the BYU perspective, listen, it's disappointing. I hate to say it. Kind of went the way that I don't know, I kind of thought it was going to go, is that, listen, BYU has a history of falling down early in games. They've been able to come back against Iowa State and Arizona. It's another beast doing it against this team. And I do think, you're sitting there at 8-1, 9-1. It's not reason to panic and give up on the season, but it is, as you go into your final 3 games, you got to start faster, you got to start stronger, and you got to get ahead, because playing from behind is going to catch up with you eventually. Good news for BYU. I'll say this. Everything's still in front of them. Final 3, bye week this week. Or no, excuse me. They just had their second bye. TCU, at Cincinnati, UCF. Now, what's interesting about that is Cincinnati is actually tied in the loss column with BYU. So Texas Tech is 6-1. Texas Tech, of course, has the head-to-head win with BYU. BYU and Cincinnati are playing in 2 weeks from now in Cincinnati. And so that could be a de facto play-in game to the Big 12 championship game. As a matter of fact, it actually would be. If BYU beats TCU next week, then the winner of that game, I guess, they would get into the Big 12 championship game. I think Arizona State's kind of a wild card, whatever. Utah is 4-2, but they have the head-to-head loss to BYU. So for BYU, it's still in front of you. You got to get back to the Big 12 championship game, and I think you do have to win it. I don't know if BYU at 11-2, I'm not saying it's fair or not fair, but if you're 11-2 and you lose to Texas Tech twice, I think it's a tough spot to ask the committee to put you in when the best team that you played, you lost to twice, but everything's still on the table for BYU. So credit to Texas Tech. They looked the part to me. And I'll just say it. I think they're one of the top legit 6-7 teams in the country. Put them on a neutral field against Georgia. Put them on a neutral field against Ole Miss. I think they hold up just fine. I cannot wait to see what this team does. And I cannot wait to see if they can close things off, get to Arlington, and get to the college football playoff. As I said, if you are a Texas Tech student that's looking to get a start in media, feel free to email me, Aaron Torres, podcastquestions@gmail.com.